Hey guys, my name is Cole and I graduated from the IB last year. And basically, this time last year, I just remember, wanting to cry. I felt like crying every day because it was 1 month from the exams. And no matter how much you study, you just don't feel prepared. I always thought I was prepared, but just as the exam gets closer, all of your confidence in yourself slowly shatters down and you just start going crazy. And I don't know what happened to me. So I remember just going on YouTube, searching international baccalaureate IB, and going on IB survival and all the IB student forums on Reddit, just finding any sort of advice that I could get. And basically I figured out, well, now that I've actually graduated the IB and I graduated with a 40, so obviously I have a little bit of credibility in the subject. I'm a little older, a little wiser. My mom doesn't think so, but I think I am. Maybe I can give some of the wisdom that I wish I had known in the IB, and basically what I should have known 1 month prior to the exams to kind of just maximize my marks. So if you guys wanna listen to me, I'm sure would like to tell you my top 5 tips to do well in the IB 1 month before. So my first tip is very simple, and it goes against the beliefs of a lot of people. Don't make notes. So I find that a lot of people, for some reason, they believe that they have this magical ability that if you write notes on the textbook by yourself and you write a summary of everything that you need to know, and if you read this 1 week prior to the exam, it suddenly just by diffusion or something magically enters all in your head because you've written it for yourself. And I bought into this. I'm like, oh, I better write notes. So I took out my syllabus statements, I took out my textbook, and I remember just writing the syllabus statement and what I need to write and what I need to remember for the syllabus statement, and I made notes for chapters like this. And then I realized, what am I doing? And the thing that acted as the catalyst for that realization is I talked to a person, and that person later on graduated the highest in my class. I think she got a 43, 44, something like that. She told me, what everybody's doing is stupid. Uh, you're just writing notes, and that takes so much time, and not necessarily while you're writing it, it's entering your head. It's much better to just read the material once, slowly, properly, and once you really understand that material, you get the fundamentals down, and that's all you need. You don't need to go and write notes and notes and notes, and just 1 week before the exam you realize, oh no, I can't do this, and you just break down more. So don't make notes, especially 1 month before the exam. I remember sitting in my science lab, and the girl next to me, she's like, do we need to know this? I'm like, yeah, that's what we need to know, is in the syllabus. What are you doing? "Oh, I'm just making notes." I'm like, it's 2.5 weeks before the exam, why are you making notes now? Yeah, I study better this way. I mean, it's nothing wrong if that's your studying style, but if you're 1 month before the exam, don't waste time making notes and reading it one day before, and on the way to the exam, in your car reading the notes. It's not going to help. So don't make notes. In fact, the best type of notes is my second point. The best type of notes are the revision guides. So these are basically a godsend, right? Because they're the best kind of notes, because they're basically made most of the time by the same people who wrote your textbook. And they're just everything you need to know from the textbook in 200 pages or less. So there are the good revision guides and the bad revision guides. The bad revision guides are basically the ones that take all the necessary and unnecessary information of your textbook, and they just write them in shorter statements. These are the bad ones. These are the ones you want to stay away from. The good ones are the ones that only include the core information, and they just elaborate on this and nothing more. So everything that the syllabus requires. So if you can get this type of revision guide, you don't need your notes. All you need are these revision guides, and especially if you've learned everything in class beforehand, don't read your textbook. I remember biology. Essentially, I just studied everything from the revision guide. It's really helpful. I think the revision guide for biology was by Andrew something. Yeah, Andrew a lot, if I'm not mistaken. He had an amazing revision guide. But a bad revision guide would be the one by Constantine Ziogas. I'm not hating him. He did a really good revision for the paper 3 for economics HL, but I remember his revision guide was basically this. It was just a bunch of information in a small font and in small boxes. It was just terrible. So find the good revision guides and make these your best friends, and I'm sure you will not waste time. Obviously, if you haven't been doing past papers, you're really stupid, especially 1 month before the exams at the time of this video. But basically, this is your king, past papers. All you need is basically to do the past papers, and whatever you get wrong, look into the marking scheme and try to understand as much as you can from the marking scheme. Don't look to your textbook, look into your marking scheme. And this is the trick, all right? So what you do is, supposing this is economics, all right? And it's a question, let's say, on theory of the firm. Or, on physics, it could be entropy, or in chem, it could be, I don't know, moles or something. But basically, when you get something wrong, find all the questions and all the past papers that have to do with that. So if it's something about, the theory of the firm and something to do with monopolistic competition, something like that, find every single past paper that has monopolistic competition and just try to not memorize the points, but try to see the pattern in the points. Don't just keep on relearning and regurgitating the information from your textbook. Try to find the patterns in the marking scheme, and that's how you'll basically learn. And that's, if you can do every single past paper, May and November, and just learn as you go, I'm so sure you'll at least graduate with a 6, no matter whether you're an HL or an SL. So past paper are king. Do you like that? It's a little doodle I made. This is supposed to be a crown. Obviously not a very good crown. I have a crown in my teeth. Soon, I'm gonna have that. My teeth hurts a lot sometimes. So, number 4, exploit online IB teachers. So basically, YouTube, where you're watching this video right now, has amazing IB teachers. Okay, they are amazing. A lot of them were better than my IB teachers at school. So, like for biology, there's this guy called Alex Lee, and he just did a phenomenal job. For economics, there was this guy called Jason Welker, and I just basically learned a ton of my syllabus from this guy. He was amazing. For chem, I remember when I was learning chem, there was a person called Mrs. J. Chem, and she did a really good job. There was this one more person for physics. I'm not so sure who it was, but you get the idea. You look on YouTube, type IB, whatever your subject is, and whatever question you want, and a bunch of videos will pop up. I remember for math SL, there was this guy from PEI Canada that did a whole review on the subject, which was really helpful. So exploit your online IB teachers. They try to do things in a fun way, and it kind of sticks into your head. And I find a lot of them also have past paper drills. So if you can do that, yeah, it would be really helpful. One of the more important things I feel is that you shouldn't compare the amount you study with your friends. And it's very simple. I used to do this a lot. What I would do is I would message my friends on WhatsApp, and I would say, oh, how much have you studied? And they'd say, I've studied this amount, and I've only studied this amount. And all of this would lead me to stress. And the opposite would be is when I study this amount and my friends tell me they've only studied this amount, and then this would just be relaxation. I'm like, okay, this gives me a false sense of calmness. And both these scenarios are bad, because oftentimes if they've told you that they've studied less than you, they're either lying, because some of them are ultra competitive, or they're just dumb. Because if you're 1 month into the exam and a person like you is watching this video stressed, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to people who are studying less than you. It's just stupid. And if they say that they've studied more than you, just remember, it's about quality, not quantity. I remember a person, she studied the whole textbook in she studied everything 3-4 weeks, and my jaw dropped. But then I realized, she did terrible in her exams, but it basically goes to show that it doesn't matter if you can study everything quick. You have to retain all this information in your head. You have to understand it. So, like my first point, don't make notes, read and study it carefully, and let it sink in. And only when it sinks in, that's when you move on to the next topic. Yeah, so don't ask your friends. In fact, just shut off your phone, shut off WhatsApp, shut off Facebook. They're all just going to be distractions, and they're just going to make you more stressed. Especially, don't go on Twitter and search hashtag IB. You don't go on IB Survival and asking all these questions, unless it's you really need to. Just don't compare with anyone. And don't go on something like IB Survival and say, if I've only studied this much, do I still have a chance on getting 7? That's just stupid. The chances of you getting a 7 is based on how much you study and how smart you are. That's it. And the last one that I wanted to point out, which is really just stupid to say to a bunch of IB students, because everyone's gonna panic, but don't panic. This is my secret tip number 6. All right, it's a secret. Shh. Not everybody does it. I never did it when I was in the IB. But basically, I realized afterwards that if I don't panic, okay, I'm not gonna be, going crazy, and information is gonna be able to stay in my brain much more longer. Because when you panic, what happens? What you tend to do is memorize, right? Or you memorize, or you try to speed read. Because if you don't understand something and you feel like you're taking too long, okay, I'll just memorize it and I'll figure it out in the test. Hopefully it doesn't come out. Or you'll speed read everything and nothing will stay in your brain. Both of these things are stupid. You need to read slow and you need to get these things in your brain. And the more you panic, the more it messes up your brain, and the more you're gonna get, it's not gonna work out. Don't panic. I know you are gonna panic, but try to panic less. These are my 5 tips plus my one bonus tip that's very inapplicable for a lot of people. So hopefully your exams go well. Remember, IB is in the end. Worst thing that can happen is you need to take a gap year and reset your exams, or renegotiate your offer for your university. So again, these are just my thoughts. If you need any help, you can just message me on YouTube or comment below. So hopefully this video has some gems. Don't message your friends, don't panic, don't go on IB survival. All right, have fun.